back to another episode of Growing Up the Wilds of Suburbia. And your host, Sir Chad Everett Broshears. Today's episode is Power and Understanding. What's fascinating to me is that, be that it's 2021, we're days away from 2022. Literally, I think we're 5 days away, 4 days away. Now, when you turn on the TV, you see nearly every channel, nearly every program seems to have conversations about how people are idiots, stupid, they're mindless. They have these, there's language that creates a block of connection and a position of righteousness and arrogance. And to believe that you know better than another person without actually even knowing the mind of the other person is incredibly arrogant. And that seems to be what our consistent narrative is. And you just listen to the shows. Turn on The View and see if there's any one episode you can watch that isn't going to have them speaking about another human being in a derogative way. They do the feel-good segments, they do these emotional roller coasters, but they do give this, people are stupid. These people are idiots. You watch the news, they frame people as being lesser intelligent or being incredibly selfish or whatever, and they put this light on people. And it causes you not to want to understand them. It causes you to want to reject them and create them as an out-group. Very quickly create them as an out-group. You can see this in the mask situation that's going on right now, specifically in multiple countries, but talk about the United States for now because that's where I'm at. It's this righteousness on both sides. Like, I'm not going to wear a mask because I'm in a righteous position. And then there's the you need to wear a mask. I wear one. And that's a righteous position there. We have all of these reasons not to want to understand somebody, but wisdom isn't created in righteousness. If you want to be if you like to be intelligent or you strive to be smarter, your ultimate goal is really wisdom. Because intelligence without action isn't much of anything but trivial. But intelligence with action creates wisdom, or is what wisdom is, right? Because wisdom is the ability to say something, to recognize something, to say something about it, and have the potency of changing the outcome. Or striking, and again, changing the outcome, but think about it on more of a psychological level, where it may not necessarily be worldly activity or something in the world was created, or whatever, there was an action taken. Could very well just be that the individual, it strikes such a profound level for that person when they hear it, that they're just like, that is wise. So wisdom is what I personally seek, or what I create the fertile soil to develop, because I love to learn, to enjoy the potential of changing outcomes in a more powerful and potent way, and I love helping people. I love assisting in development and growth. So that's what I seek. Again, to say seek is really, it's more of, that's the soil the fertile soil that I prefer to make myself be that person. So the power and understanding is such a fantastic thing, such a beautiful thing. Potency is my word, right? Potency means that you are more capable. You have such an ability to accomplish something simply by virtue of who you are, or by virtue of your existence and what's happening. It's That is a powerful place to be a very potent human being. Because I feel that the way we kind of frame specific language, we make it cliche, and once something becomes cliche, is that it is losing value from its origin. And that's how I feel about certain terminology. I'm a lover of linguistics. I love words and the meanings of those words, specifically to the individual word as well as the context the word is put inside of a sentence, a paragraph, and the overall framing of it. I love all of that. That's linguistics. So I don't like to reduce a value of a specific word, but I like to try to dislodge it from the framing that is used regularly in the colloquial sense, or in a popular sense, on a larger scale, so that using words to make greater meaning, which is understanding, right? So I prefer potency over power, because power is played out as far as in language, especially language in the context of transformation and change. I feel that it doesn't make the same impact. So potency, become potent. Now, people love to quote things like Lao Tzu in The Art of War, or great strategists of history, Socrates, great thinkers. What people fail to do, though, is to realize that, and it seems and regularly, it's a regular failure, is that they don't really seem to understand how those individuals got to where they are, or where we know them as far as history goes. And that is because we're taught and conditioned on a modern level that has all kinds of reasons not to grant a specific ability or existence to history. What I mean by that is Socrates didn't have television. He didn't have all of that. He had the town square. He went around, and again, it's debatable whether Socrates ever lived or not. That's not really relevant. We can say that he did simply by virtue of the stories of Socrates. So whether he lived or not isn't as important. It's the same as Shakespeare. We don't know who Shakespeare really was. All we know is this individual that wrote, wonderful plays and became a literary reference point in history. But we don't know who the hell, who he was. So Shakespeare's the unknown, right? We know he was a person, we just don't know who the heck it was. Same thing with Socrates. We don't know if he really lived, but the great thing about it is you don't have to have lived. There's lessons that are taught regardless, and those are the values. It's not to diminish the value because we can't prove the existence of that person. So, but we do know that it has changed the way that we think, because the Socratean way of thinking is a powerful way of understanding situations. Now, but this is a key to to the access of that power, the potency of Socrates. Socrates predates so much, so many things in history, but has been so important and relevant to the creation of that history. So, it goes far back to BC. So, pretty sure it's BC. Anyway, but the point of it is that Socrates drew power from understanding those that disagreed with him, and or just understanding others and reducing the barriers to understand those people. He engaged. If you read, Plato's Republic, you'll find he engaged regularly with individuals. It's a fantastic exercise. Be involved. Get engaged with people. I will have to go back and read Plato's Republic again, but the point of it is that you draw power from understanding people that disagree with you. Don't create segments of your psychologists and psychiatrists listen to people with mental illness, you know, because of their aptitude to change, the things that they're capable of doing to change and make powerful changes for people in their lives. So this is what I personally intend to put out there as well, is don't create barriers not to understand something. I use the reference for psychologists and psychiatrists dealing with people with mental illness because those are the people that the majority of society shun. They try to stay away from them as if the way that they think is infectious, because they may not have the certainty of safety because of this person's erratic behavior. Could be for the conditions that have erratic values. It's to stay away from them because they're not predictable, and they may increase the likelihood of your safety being challenged. So you move away from that person. But you do have people that directly take that on as that group, as counselors. There's all kinds of people that work in that field that's what they do. But they don't have that barrier. They have a professional position there. So I'm not saying go out and befriend or put yourself into situations that might increase your likelihood of harm. I'm not saying anything like that. I am as your physical harm, but I am encouraging you to create opportunities to potentially create some psychological, emotional harm to an extent, so just enough to get you out of your comfort zone. There's a great growth that comes with that. It's like exercise of any type. It helps you become more conditioned to deal with whatever the exercise is. If you start running today, give yourself 6 months worth of running and see how far you can run. Right? If you start lifting weights today, give yourself 6 months worth of lifting weights and see how much stronger you become and how much more endurance you have. Same thing with this, but the majority of people are not aware that they can develop in these areas. So they're not trying to understand where other people are as much as they're trying to build a fortress of protection, constantly trying to keep people out, figuring out why to keep them out. And you have these like triggers that say, okay, well, this person's not worthy of me knowing, and then it's dismissal. So you hear it on the news, this person is like this, or this is the bad person. We come up with terminology that helps frame an individual, immediately putting a hat on them, like Karen. What is Karen? Right? It's a new term that's being used that has a very specific meaning, and that meaning is on a level immediate, that once somebody is brandished a Karen, immediately there's characteristics that are supposed to align with that person. There are framing techniques that get people to not want to talk to each other, to stay away from each other, things like that. That person's a Karen. Well, then what does that say? You stop communicating with that individual, or you try to move away from them, because that comes with not only the humor of it, but it also comes with the negatives of it. And the negatives are that Karen is likely racist, that she likely is, she's going to want to try to get somebody in trouble for something trivial or for something that doesn't even require that they be, there's nothing they've done wrong. There's all of these things that immediately get adopted, or immediately get, cursed to the individual, if you will, or the person now owns this thing. And that's what that is, right? So you have these specific terms that do this. Be wary of those that try to get you into that thinking model. Because it strips your autonomy. And if you realize the consequences of accepting specific conversations, you start to recognize whenever, like for me, I recognize whenever people are intending to try to manipulate me. Now, does that mean I'm 100% on it? No. But I have a pretty high proficiency with a very high accuracy of being able to identify those things. This is how we break free, is you start recognizing how somebody else is trying to lead you in a certain direction. When you're being led in a certain direction, that takes away your autonomy. And your autonomy is who you are. Now, you may be, your autonomy is also your free ability to be who you are. So other people are going to want to shift that, because in this game of life, everyone's playing chess. But sometimes they're just on the board and they don't know what moves they're making. They don't realize they're making anything. They're not educated in it, and they're just doing shit. And occasionally they may make a few good moves, but ultimately, whoever they're playing with that's going to have a better mastery of that is going to do far better than they are, because they understand the game they're playing. When somebody is framing language in a way to get you to react, they're doing the same thing to you. Whether they're on television or if they're in person, none of that matters as much as it is about what the point is, and that somebody intentionally trying to manipulate you for whatever reasoning. And if they manipulate you for whatever reasoning, well, you're the one that pays the consequences. They're the one that reaps the rewards. So, why is it so important? And why is there potency and power in knowing to understanding? Well, that's as simple as what I'm talking about. You don't need. Let me take that back. It's not that you don't need. You're better suited to break down the barriers that cause you to want to make somebody else part of an outgroup, because there is a wealth of information that individual has had in life. They have experienced certain things, and just because of the topics that you've discussed with them do not find to be, for you don't find them to be that relevant, that does not mean that if you were to stay connected with that person, you continue to communicate with that person in such a way that you continue to surface other subjects, that you won't have access to more information that you don't have, and experiences you don't have, and potential allies and your life goals. But if you allow somebody else to say, you know what, you shouldn't know them, that makes you little, and that is taking away from your foundation of your success. Now, doesn't mean every time you practice this stuff, you're going to end up finding, all of this pay dirt of, the immediate, yes, this is a good thing, because life doesn't work that way. You may find a lesson that looks like a very bad thing or a negative thing at this time, and after you've had time to experience that lesson, you later develop either a new skill set or you have a different insight that changes the world's perspective enough for you that the lesson has been learned, and now you can move into the next phase of you being more developed, which means more potent. Little fractional values over time create a big difference. It's like a drip of water. One drip of water seems insignificant. One drip of water over the course of 10 years becomes a lake. What is it that you're creating? All right. Now, so I'll share with you what I've been working on. Again, it's on a daily basis. I just love learning. This is what I do. I don't really listen to a lot of music. Occasionally I do, but I really don't listen to a lot. My preference is, even when I'm exercising, my preference is to listen to something educational. So what am I giving myself as a gift? Is where I'm putting my attention right now. And that attention is on multiple different personality types. Specifically right now I'm working on the male personality types. And those personality types there's 6 of them. So there's the alpha, the sigma, the beta, the delta, the gamma, and the omega. So for those personality types, identifying really how I fit in, where, and seeking out, understanding the other types as well, is I want to be able to have more of a cohesive existence and workability with more people. So I don't work towards creating, I'm better than other people of any type. I'm not that person. I may have attributes that complement situations more than other people, but I'm not better than other people. I maybe have a higher proficiency for more situations, but again, I'm not better than other people. I don't come from that place. I come from better understanding so that I can help navigate situations in such a way that the outcome is more predictable and preferential for everyone involved, short and long term, which makes things a little bit more complex, but it's still perfect. So that's what I've been working on, is going through, really turned my attention to it by being introduced to the least known of the six, which is the Sigma. Uh, and it turns out that I'm like 95% of like what they describe as far as a Sigma male. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I've felt, kind of alone for a long time, in a very alone in my particular makeup, my attributes. And now I'm learning a lot about this, which is also helping me communicate differently with people, not just for my own personal awareness, but also sharing, that particular information so that other people can learn from it and understand, me a little bit better, instead of assuming things, because assumptions usually lead you down the wrong path, not the right one. So that's the gift I've been giving myself, is to learn more about those things. And it's absolutely fascinating. If you're not familiar with it, there's actually quite a few different options when you go to YouTube to look up these particular different categories. So as I move through and complete the males portion of this, I'll go over and work through the female side as well, so to better understand all of that. No, but that's a gift, right? And it's a gift that you give yourself, and it's about understanding other people, whether you agree with them or not. Don't make an enemy of somebody. If you can stop it, don't make an enemy because somebody else tells you you should. That is not a personal decision when you do that, on you to the person that's becoming the enemy. It's a personal decision between you and the person who told you to make that person an enemy. And you may do that out of loyalty, you can do that out of a lot of reasons, but ultimately, it takes away your autonomy and also locks away a corridor of existence from you, because you now won't, likely learn from that person in any way. You can learn from your enemies, and true declared enemies, people that want to see harm done to you, or to see you fall to undesirable circumstances. You can still learn from those people, but a lot of people are like, nope, get as far away from them as possible. So, oh, yeah. Give yourself a gift. Give it every day. Look for something. Get your attention. Your attention will create the gift for you if you find the thing that you value and you start studying or listening to it and be open to it. So, with that, my dedication for my growth and development is also something that I give to the world that will watch these videos and that are in pursuit of their own growth. I hope that this is helpful for you. I'm not saying that I'm right completely by any means. There's plenty of places I can be wrong. I've been proven wrong, and I actually like being wrong in the sense that it shows me where I can learn more and grow more. So hopefully join me on that journey. This stuff is not easy, but it's well worth it. It's a burden well worth carrying. So until next time, I'm your host, Sir Chad Everett Bro Shears, and this is Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. Look forward to the next video, and if this video has made a difference for you, or if it strikes an idea to somebody in your life that you would like to start this conversation, share the video with them. Get the conversation started and see where it goes. You can use me as that avenue to break the ice, and then talk about how I'm wrong or how I'm right or whatever it is, and use this as a backdrop so that you can have that conversation with that person. Until next time, again, it's not easy, but it's worth it. So stick with me, and let's get up to something. I'll talk to you soon.